Hey, DJ from Pro Action here. Today we're going to install a pair of the Pro Action remote reservoir shocks. Now the difference between these and our standard shock is basically what you see right here. Has a nitrogen internal. The reservoir shock, we have a reservoir on the outside, there's a splitter right here. So the nitrogen's at the bottom, then the oil goes from there the rest of the way over. That gives us a little bit extra adjustment. This is more for the aggressive rider that does a lot of touring and hauls a lot of weight, rides two up all the time, needs that extra adjustability. All right, now you have your shocks laid out, all your tools ready. First thing we're going to do is we're going to install these shocks. They install just like our other shocks. When you get these out of the box, they'll be wrapped in some foam. I would suggest leaving the foam on the reservoir side. That way, if it bounces around a little bit, hits your bag, hits your bar, your exhaust, you're not going to hurt anything. So get your spacers. There's a small side. We want that small side facing the shock. So you put your first one on the bolt through, second one on the back side. We'll come up, we'll mount the top. Leave it a little bit loose so you can move it around for the bottom. Same thing in the bottom, a spacer, the bolt, spacer in the back side. Now you may have to manipulate the jack up and down a little bit, to make sure that this fits, the bottom bolt goes in. I had this one preset, you may have to move it around just a little bit. Once you get the both bolts started, let's tighten everything down. Just leave the reservoir hang there for a minute. Now we're going to use a fender mount. So we're going to take a T30 Torx bit on the back spool on your docking system. We'll take that off. We'll just set that aside. Then from there, we need to install the mount. When you get the mount out of the box, the tops will be on, so just go ahead and take the bolts out of the top. We'll set those aside. Now everything is assembled other than the one side. You'll notice one side's a little bit loose. That's your throttle side. So take the Allen wrench that we give you. We're going to take those bolts out just to remove this side. So like I said, this is your throttle side. So we're going to mount it over the rear spool. I already took this spool off before just to save some time. It's going to fit right over your docking system. Sometimes you have to wiggle a little bit. It should be pretty snug. This side, put over, line the bolts up. Take a little bit of blue Loctite. Yeah, put on the bolt. Get your bolts started. Then use the Allen wrench that we sent with the kit and snug them down. Now we got that part. Take your stock spool. And there'll be a fat side and a skinny side on the spool. We want to take the smaller side and put towards the mounting system. Take the screw. Now once you get that started, it'll be a little bit wide, but once you get the screw started, it'll draw it in. So we did this side, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to take the short side of the spool, make sure it's facing the docking system. Snug that down, and it's going to draw this in tight. All right, so there we have it mounted. The next step, we're going to take our reservoirs. They're going to mount right in the clamp. This set, I'm not using a tour pack, so that'll mount with the compression adjusters towards the rider. If you're using a tour pack, the ones we send you have a little longer hose. They'll turn this way, and they'll mount the other way, so the adjustment will be at the bottom. So here we put that on, top clamp. A little bit of, if you want to put a little Loctite in there, you can. It's really not necessary for the clamp part. Get that side started. Leave it a little bit loose till you get everything started, then snug them down evenly. And just once you get them in, and you just snug everything down real nice and tight. Once you get to one side, we're going to switch over, do the second side. Start the first side, leave it a little bit loose because we're going to move these around. Get the second side started. Then once you have them in, we can still move them. We're gonna want to tuck this down, kind of get the hose right up against there, so you know it'll come up against your bag real nice. Be hidden by the bag actually. Snug everything down. On this side, we'll do the same adjustment. Just where it's loose enough to turn. Tuck that hose in. Tighten everything back down. When you get them, the settings will be your compression on the top is going to be clear counterclockwise till it stops. Back in 3, 1, 2, 3 clicks. On the bottom of the shock, you're going to be clear out. Back in 5 on both sides. So 3 in the top, 5 on the bottom. Your spring will be set where you get it. Once we get it to you from the factory, ride it that way first, and then do any tuning you need to from there. Now that is the setup.